Let's get started. We are back. This is B&B. Yeah, it's probably been a while since you guys have seen us, but we are back. There is a lot going on right now that we got to talk about. That's part of the reason why we came together today to do this show. So, we're just gonna get started. You got me, you got Brax here, me, you got Mel, you got Brent there. Probably gonna do, about two shows in one a day. First thing we want to talk about though is how can we heal from hate, just kind of this hate that's going on, this hatred that's being shown, and these people out here who are protesting against it, fighting against it, and trying to have their voices heard, so we can receive justice, or for minorities who are being killed by cops can receive justice. What do y'all think? I mean, there's a lot of people protesting out right now, and just been protesting as well. What happened in Minneapolis, Minnesota, with the killing of George Floyd. So
Just the latest of many.
right, just the latest of
Right.
many. Yeah, because there's
Well said,
been
Mildred.
more killings this year, of blacks, unarmed at that, and so it's definitely crazy. I mean, just seeing all those people, man, it's a lot of people. I do love how it's catching on, and people are. It seems like the protests are growing. People are taking it more serious. Even in other countries, you see people protest,
Yeah,
and I feel like the
yeah.
numbers are getting bigger. So when they do peacefully protest, that is amazing. When you see all those people together, I think that is a beautiful thing. Um, we just have to remember, though, we have to protest peacefully, and not, use violence. I think that's where it goes overboard. But protesting in and of itself is not wrong. That's a freedom and a right that we have. And so, just I think what's going on is a good thing. We just have to do it in the right way.
Right.
And I completely agree. I really do. And I've seen some people say that, of course, Martin Luther King, he peacefully protested, but he was also peacefully killed. So I mean,
Mm.
sometimes,
Hmm.
like I said, I don't agree, but a lot of times, all these times where we peacefully protested,
Hmm.
where people have had sit-ins, in the '60s,
Hmm.
and even when they did that, there was violence that was brought against them for doing it.
Right.
Hmm.
you know. And so when you peacefully protest, like I said, I completely agree that
Hmm.
that is the correct way to go about it. But it doesn't gain as much attention on a situation as when the protests are not so peaceful. So once
Hmm.
when all this,
Wow.
rioting and looting happened, it
Hmm.
has brought everybody's attention to it. Everybody's
Hmm.
attention. Each and every time that has happened where there has been rioting and stuff like that, it has brought major attention to the situation that's at hand or what's
Hmm.
going on. So, like I said, I don't agree with it, but I completely understand, and it's having an effect.
Hmm.
People are actually they're they're listening.
Hmm. Right.
It's everybody's attention is on it.
Right.
And
Right.
like I said, it is not the best way to go about it, of course, but at the
Right.
same time, sometimes you have to make some noise to be heard.
Right.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I mean,
Hmm.
my thing is, you think of Dr. King, you think of Fannie Lou Hamer from Mississippi, Medgar Evers, Malcolm X, just the great civil rights icons of our time. Sometimes the Malcolm side of me comes out and be like, some hell does need to be raised because look and I'm not agreeing with it by no means. Like if well, a lot of people saying for justice for justice is for another life, but because George Floyd, you can't bring his life back.
Hmm.
His life can't be brought back. But then I mean, you think about that power Malcolm X had. I mean, in the movie, and even though it was a movie, I'm pretty sure these cops said the same thing when they saw all those brothers united And when Malcolm X had that man hand motion, he went like, and they said that's too much powerful. But when you have that much power to say, okay, I'm bringing this to the table, and they'll be like, okay, this is not something that we need to mess with. This is something that we need to almost fear.
Mm-hmm.
And even Dr. King, to a certain extent, towards the end of his life, you know, he even said the dream that I had is not so much a dream. It's almost like a nightmare. And, you
Mm-hmm.
know, it's a rare video of him talking about, he said, next time we go to Washington, I'm not going to Washington to protest or to sing, basically sing Kumbaya. We're coming for a check. And then that's next thing you know, that's when Dr. King was gone.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, sometimes I'm at the end words because part of me is like, this needs to happen, but another part of me is like, but we still can't, we got to use sense in what we're doing. I guess that's just how I'm looking at things. And, you know, I want everybody to be safe, but also let you know, everybody that's also doing that rioting and stealing stuff, it's not all black folks either. That be clear. It's not all black folks.
Mm-hmm.
And some cable news show, they try to make it seem like it's all us, but it's not. And then I think even Trump posted 80% of the people that are there in those states are not even from those states.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
You got people coming from out of state.
they just coming from all over, and
And some of those people are not there to do. They're there to do harm.
right.
They're coming with weapons.
Right. They're coming with right. And the whole thing, I think it got even worse when he posted about saying thugs, but then weeks prior before that, you saying liberations to Minnesota for the protesting to open back up America.
Right.
My thing is, you're contradicting yourself. Either be quiet or stay on one. I mean, that right there, that got me more angry than anything. You calling them thugs, but then just a few weeks ago, you saying liberate America, liberate Minnesota. That wasn't right. That wasn't right.
Yeah.
I think it's completely. I think it's completely fine to be angry.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see an issue with you being angry because you have a reason to. I mean, there has been plenty of injustice that's happened. So I mean, like people have been saying, everybody's become tired of it. They're fed up, and everybody, they want a change to happen. And so, like I said, sometimes in order to be heard, you got to make a little noise.
Yeah.
So I mean,
yeah. And it is. I think it's okay to be angry as well. Like I think everybody's angry right now. Actually,
right.
it's hard to not even. It's hard to watch everything that's going on and not feel some type of anger about it. Whether you own, you know, one side or the other, you can see. It feels like the majority of people are on George Floyd. Yeah,
You
it feels like
right.
the majority of people are on his side. But I think
Right.
it's hard to not be angry. You and like kind of like you were saying earlier, it's not even just blacks out there protesting. You got all kind of people out there, from all mixes, all races out there protesting the same thing.
And I love
That's
it.
what makes it good. I love to see that because it means it's not just an issue that we're dealing with. They're starting to see it now because we're actually getting the call on our phones, on cell phones. So that's what we need. We need not just minorities or blacks to be out there protest. We need other groups to come out there and protest with us and
white
make
folks
sure
need to know, they need to speak up about this injustice. I mean, yes, we need to speak up.
Yeah, we gotta hold our representatives
Right.
hold them accountable for what's going on.
Right.
And so that's why a vote, you know, is important too. But yeah,
I mean, thoughts. I mean, at this point, yeah, thoughts and prayers are nice. Don't get me wrong. We hold the visuals, the prayers, and everything. But I mean, holding accountable is just hold just as much power. than us just getting together praying. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, we do need to pray.
Mm-hmm.
Never cease from praying.
Mm-hmm.
You never cease from praying, putting
Yeah.
action behind it.
Yeah.
It don't do no good for me to pray, Lord, do this enough for me. And then if I don't get up and do and show him some type of work that I'm doing,
Mm-hmm.
if I'm sitting on this laptop, if I'm praying to God, Lord, I want a job. It ain't gonna do me no good to do that prayer if I'm not on this laptop looking up jobs, going on LinkedIn, trying to network with other people, seeing are y'all hiring at this company or whatever. Even though at some point driving up there saying, hey man, I'd apply for the job. You know, you got to give God something to work with.
Mm-hmm.
And what I keep thinking about, what if there was no video? Because they have not even released the dash cam video from the police. What if there was no? What if there's those people what didn't record that?
Yeah, I mean it'd be another cover up. I think they were all trying to
Exactly.
set him up to
Right.
do a cover up. They didn't arrest him right away. They just fired him.
No. And regardless if that man had a counterfeit, and some reports are saying he stayed after he realized it was. He didn't try to run away. He
No,
stayed there.
you're right, because Aaron was telling me that he saw a video, and he showed me the video where they had handcuffed. He had been handcuffed for a long period of time. He was handcuffed. They had him on the curb. They were sitting there talking to him.
Right.
You know, he's talking to him on the curb, and then they stood him up, walked him across the street,
Mm-hmm.
did some more talking to him, and then they walked him back across the street, and then I guess they talked to him some more. Like, so he was in full compliance. He was complying. It wasn't like he tried to run away or get away. None of that. And then next thing you know, he's on the ground. And like, you know, the very first initial photo that everybody saw and versus the initial video everybody saw was just the two officers, one standing up and one that was on his neck with his knee on his neck. But if you look at another video and some of the pictures, there was two other
Right.
officers
It was two other
holding him down.
officers. Yes.
So why the man he was in handcuffs. He was restrained. He was detained. So I don't understand why you felt the need to lay down on him. Three grown men on one grown man. He's outnumbered. Even if it was just two of y'all, he's outnumbered. So I mean, you already have an advantage. And like I said, but he wasn't resisting. He was complying with everything they said. Like I don't
Right.
understand how that even happens.
Even if he was resisting, I mean, you don't put your knee in somebody's neck. You could. There's so many other things you could have done in that situation as a cop. You could have put your knee in his back. You could have done a bunch
Right.
of other things. And then, like you said, there was how many cops was it? 3 or 4
It was three
cops
of them.
there. Yeah, y'all can't restrain one person. Really?
And his hands were behind his back. He was
Right.
restrained.
Yeah.
You had one cop. You had one cop on his legs. One cop in the middle with a knee in the middle of his back, and you had one cop with a knee on his head, on his neck. Like it. I don't understand. Like what is it? And somebody posed the question like what? And it was, and what is it about the skin color of us that makes you nervous? What is it? I would really like to know. Like,
It's,
I mean, because
it's fear.
I get up, like, what makes you fearful though? We don't have. It's not like we got superpowers. I mean, we put on our pants one leg at a time, just like you do. The only, we do everything the same way that you do, and it's like it's just the color of our skin. Like people say, I saw a quote where they were saying they love our culture,
Right.
but they hate us. And hate is a strong word, but but it almost seems like that. You love the African American culture, but you have an issue with the African American.
Mm-hmm.
So as a person, I really would like to find out, like, what is it?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yeah, I think it just comes down to fear. Like I don't why they're afraid of us or afraid of minorities. I mean, who knows? Who understands? I don't know, maybe there's a way the cops are being trained now. You know, maybe they think because one person's bad that all of them are bad. I think they try to
Right.
group us together.
Probably
I
so.
think that we're all the same. We're just some monolithic group. We all think the same. We all talk the same. We all do the same thing,
Right.
which is not true.
Well,
So it's just
Braxton,
another. It's prejudice. It's racist to think that way, and you know, it's not open at all.
Braxton, that scripture in First John that you talked about, hate.
Hmm.
How can you love God but hate your brother?
Hmm. Right. Who you see every
That
day.
that that officer on George was a perfect example of that scripture.
Hmm.
This man looked down at George while he is pleading for his life, put his hands in his pocket, looked at the doggone camera, smirked.
Hmm.
Now, if that's not hate, for 9 minutes, this man is crying out, I can't breathe.
Hmm.
And at the end of it, he cries out for his dying mother.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's what got me more than when he started crying for his mother,
Hmm.
and then come to find that his mother already passed on,
Yeah.
and then you
Yeah.
see the it's like you see the spirit come out because you saw his body go like he's laying on the ground, he just and that
Yeah.
man he just chilling on his neck.
And they said he was after he had quit moving, he was on
Still
them
there.
for another 3 minutes, still leaning on them
And
for another
them
three
people are
minutes.
hollering, man, I think this dude is dead or man, he can't breathe. And I think at
Yeah.
one point he was bleeding.
Yeah. He can't tell him. Yeah. He can't breathe. Get him up. You know,
And
let him
and,
up.
and he still just now that is hate. And
And
okay,
so
yeah,
am I at that point, what are you waiting for?
right.
Like,
Mhm.
what are you waiting for? Because you already have 4 officers on the scene. Are you waiting for more officers to come? Like, who else were you waiting on? Like,
Mhm.
what was the reason for you to just have him on the ground like that?
Right.
I can see if you were officer, 1 or 2 officers, and you were restraining it until a backup came, but
Right.
backup was there.
Yeah.
You could have set that man in the car.
Right.
At the very least, set him in the car, and then you can go over there and talk to him when you needed to. But
Right.
at the very least, you could have set him in the police car in the
Mhm.
back, and he could have been just sitting there fine and waiting on whatever else they were waiting on. Like I said, but I don't know what they were waiting on. What was it?
Yeah.
What possessed you to just keep him there?
Flexing. Absolutely. It's just like they were flexing.
Mhm.
I can do this.
That's what it seems like.
When he went to me, when he looked at that camera and then smirked, it's like he was saying, yeah, I'm doing this, and what you gonna do about it?
Yeah.